Checking. Yeah, we're all good to go. All right then, hello everybody, this is Pitchskullblack here, and welcome to my second ever live stream on this channel, and my first ever pop of commentary live stream, because I did some really crap Daleks Master Plan ones a few years ago, like 50 years ago now or something. God, it's been a long time. Good. Anyways, yeah, as you'd have gathered from the sort of title and stuff, I'm going to be doing a commentary on one of my favourite Doctor Who stories of all time, The Crusade. Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting, this commentary, as I sort of wanted to call this a sort of a deluxe commentary, as I'm going to be covering a lot of ground in this commentary, and it's going to be quite unique for a commentary, to say the least. What I'm going to be doing in this commentary is I'm going to be commentating on the original soundtrack release of this story, all 4 episodes. You listen to that and commentate on that, and then I'll most likely take a break, and then after that break I will be commentating on the surviving episodes from the Crusade, The Lion and the Wheel of Fortune. Also, on the Lost in Time box set, there's a commentary for the Crusade episode 3 by Julian Glover, King Richard, from the story. And so after I have commentated on the surviving episodes, I will be commentating and reacting to that commentary on episode 3 as well. So yeah, it's going to be quite a big live stream, like another one of those massive 3-hour live streams like the one I did of the Daleks Master Plan art a couple months ago now. So without further ado, let us begin. And I will say that in terms of categorically ranking my favourite Doctor Who stories of all time, I am not 100% sure what my 5th favourite Doctor Who story of all time would be. But I can definitely say my top 4. And my top 4 at this point are The Abominable Snowmen at number 4, probably The Crusade at number 3, Turn Left at number 2, and The Daleks Master Plan at number 1. So without further ado, let's begin this commentary. And I haven't listened to The Crusade in a little while, so it's going to be an interesting experience for me, but I do love the story and I should love it once again, but you never know, I may change my opinion. So without further ado, let us begin. And here we go. Wow, the CD is short. Is it really that short? I don't remember it being that short. Only 27 tracks on the first disc. Episode 2, 17 tracks, but unbelievably, episode 1 is only 10 tracks. So, yeah, here we go. Good sound effects right there for the TARDIS landing. So yeah, if I was to say what my most wanted Doctor Who book would be, it would be a Frederick Muller original of this story, for obvious reasons. Hawk being blinded. Yeah, and I have also not uploaded in a little while, almost 2 weeks now, as I'm still working on my Underworld Update multi-parter, so I thought I would do this to sort of fill in someplace. Or sort of fill in for a video. Yeah, the Doctor Who pure historicals from the 1960s have always some interesting opinions to them, such as Marco Polo. I would describe as probably being the most fan favourite as with regards to the general consensus. The Aztecs I also quite like. Reign of Terror I quite like. I like all of the pure historicals apart from Smugglers and Mythmakers. And this obviously being my favourite. Not a lot of people like this story, which is a disappointment. A very underrated Hartnell story, in my opinion. Yeah, that's a point. Really good story for Ian. Great character piece for him. Yeah, I can see why not a lot of people would like the audio of this. It's quite visual so far. Yeah, I'll comment on that later. The visual effects of the Tornaboo, or whatever his name is, getting shot in the shoulder is a really good effect, especially for 1960s Doctor Who. Yeah, that's something you rarely get with Doctor Who if you really think about it. Because the Crusade opens up with an action scene that the Doctor and crew and whatnot land in the middle of. And you don't really get that much with Doctor Who at all, really. I mean, seriously, think about what other Doctor Who stories have begun with an action scene. Honestly, the only one that comes to mind is the Ambassadors of Death. Nothing else. I can't quite remember if any other Doctor Who stories begin with an action scene, so quite a good start for the Crusade. I could be completely wrong about that. Hear a bird chirping away in the background. Or maybe it was that effect that I really liked from the surviving episode, the guy being shoved in the chest with the javelin. Get the bell. Is he a wrestler or something? I'm sorry, but how many times does Barbara get kidnapped or vanishes in her run of the show? I mean, she disappeared in the Daleks, causing the Doctor and whatnot to look for her. She's disappeared in this now, been kidnapped. And then wasn't she kidnapped by the Menoptera in the previous story, the Web Planet? Great performances in this story. Yeah, I'm not going to play the audio out loud or anything like that throughout the entire stream because BBC attacked one of my live streams before because of that main mind adventure in space and time commentary. Yeah, it's quite a talkative story. Good old crafty First Doctor. Entire display collapses, only a soft muffle happens. Honestly, so far it's not as good as I remember it. It's quite talkative and difficult to get into. coming to the end of the first episode now, and honestly, it's not as good as I remember it, to be honest. It's good, but not as good as I remember, unfortunately. We arrived in a box. Ah, you were carried into the wood. Nice reference to the web planet Barbara. Nice reference to the Romans. Reference to the Daleks. No, rescue. See, I used to like the Crusade a lot because of how dark and powerful it is, and obviously in between the sort of gap of my last listen to this and my current now listen to it, obviously episode 1 isn't as good as I remember it. Maybe it's just a sort of build-up introductory episode to the rest of the story. Hope it's that. Extremely good performances, though. Yeah, I think this is King Richard. And that's the end of the first episode. Yeah, a bit of an introductory episode from what I can gather from that. Yeah, sort of building up to the rest of the story. Not as good as I remember it, but maybe it's a lot better in the sort of surviving episode form. Yeah, sort of a build-up episode. Nice sort of introduction to the story. Good characterization. Good setup. Good sort of opening action scene. Which is something you rarely see in Doctor 2. As I said earlier, only other story with that comes to mind is Ambassadors of Death. Even though that was actually part way through episode 1, I think, so maybe that doesn't even count at all. Yeah, not as good as I remember it, to be honest. Still a pretty damn good episode, I would say. I'm trying to think. Rating for that episode, around 7, maybe an 8. So yeah, not as good as I remember it, but still a very good episode. And on to episode 2, which is hopefully where the story sort of picks up for me, which I think it does, because I remember it being really dark, and obviously that was just an introductory episode, so maybe this is just where all of the action sort of starts kicking in. And as you would have been able to tell, it's been a while since I've experienced this. This is my first time experiencing this story this year, so wow, that's poor audio quality. Is that a telesign? Yeah, it has to be. That is a rapidly. That's a big swap in quality. So that is definitely a telesign. The quality is like whoop. Yeah, how long is this telesign? Wow, it's quite a long telesign. No, it's not a telesign. Yeah, maybe it's just a really poor recording of episode 2, which is unfortunate considering it's one of the missing ones, but what can you do? It's a really old recording, 50 years old at this point. Oh, of course. Oh, yes, Joanna. Probably the best character in the story, aside from King Richard. yeah, I'm just, I don't know. It's weird how opinions sort of so heavily change on you. It's just a lot of historical conversations, really. That's what the story is so far. It's 2 episodes in now. We've got 10 tracks to go on this disc, so hopefully it picks up. Wow, this is a ton of events. What was I thinking? Yes, I think it's safe to say this isn't one of my favourite Doctor Who stories anymore. It's God, it's disappointing. Thumbnail. It's oh, it's all right. It's not unpleasant as the character's characterization and character chemistry is really good, but it just lacks substance. It's just conversations. God, I'm disappointed. This isn't one of my favorite Doctor Who stories anymore, which is fucking surprising, honestly, and really disappointing. God. You know how you get all of those sort of off-screen surviving clips from the likes of the Lost in Time box set of like the Savages and whatnot? The audio quality is like akin to being the audio quality of those, but slightly louder for this release. I think I might give the book another read, actually, as it might be better than the story now. It could be completely flipped in terms of opinions. Like, this used to be one of my favourite stories, and this used to be one of my most disappointing Doctor Who books of all time, the novelisation of this. So it was completely swapped the other way around now. So I'm tempted to give it another read, but I'm not sure. Then again, it may not be that good because of lacking of source material. Well, lacking of good source material, so to say, now. I'm so disappointed. I really am. It's like I just have to find another Hartnell story under the master plan to fanboy over. Oh, you have no idea how disappointed I am. probably going to give a full review on this after I've watched the surviving episodes, maybe. No, I'll probably actually review the audio after I've listened to all of it, and then review the surviving episodes, possibly. Poor chickens. I love how, despite its limitations, 1960s Doctor is still able to get real animals on the set for their episodes, especially the Ark. That sort of stands out. Oh, this is going to be a long live stream. This is... And that was the end of episode 2. Oh. Good grief. Bloody hell. Yeah, this is no longer one of my favourite Doctor Who stories. On to this 2 now of what I remember being my favourite episode from the Crusade originally. The... What was it called? The Warlords? No, that was the final episode, wasn't it? What's this episode called? Wheel of Fortune, that's it. So, yeah, I remember the Wheel of Fortune being my favourite episode originally from the Crusade, but probably will still stay like that just because of Joanna's and King Richard's scene in it. But yeah, this is still no longer one of my favourite Doctor Who stories. Honestly, it's... Oh. Right, then, episode 3, The Wheel of Fortune. The wheel in the sky keeps on turning. I don't know where I'll be tomorrow. The wheel in the sky keeps on turning. Oh, good grief. I'm tempted to I'm honestly kind of tempted to turn this off, to be honest. Good grief. It's really hard to commentate on this story as there's so little substance. I like that quote. That is something I will give. I like that quote. There is something new in you, but yet something older than the sky itself. That is such a great bit of writing from Whitaker right there. But substance, I need it. Wow, a character not understanding what transvestites are. Not saying Vicky is a transvestite, but that guy nowadays probably wouldn't even understand what transvestites are. Which would be controversial nowadays, considering that's probably a lot more relevant. Yeah, I've just realised Barbara hasn't been in the No, she has. Silly me. Never mind. Forget that. Good grief, this is boring. Honestly, it is. I mean, characters and characterization is good, so it's not really an unpleasant listen per se, but it's just boring because of there's like little substance to what there is going on, and there's disappointed me so much because it's used to be pretty much my favourite story of all time, just behind Master Plan and Turn Left, as I said at the start of this stream. So there you go. That just goes to show how quick freaking opinions turn around, or how easily they can. Substance! I need you! Give me fucking substance, please. Even my shit has more substance than this. No, that's actually harsh. I won't go that far. Because there is characterization, and good characters, but plot. Where is it? Plot. I mean, even this is thicker than the plot. It's just characters talking. I can't believe this is just about halfway through this stream. We've still got the episode 4 to listen to and all of those other surviving episodes in the commentary to watch. I haven't watched the episode 3 commentary yet with Julian Glover, so that should be interesting. God. Oh. Yeah, think about it, episode 1 would get a 6 from this audio release, and episode 2 would get 5. And we're a little over halfway through this episode, and it's... Oof. You stupid butcher, can you think of nothing else but killing? Give me something to talk about. Come on, you historical wankstain. Come on. Oh. Good music, though. I'll give it that. I mean, everything would work really well and create an overall coherent story. It's very nearly there to make a really good story. The characters are there, the characterization is there, the performance is there, the music is there. It's just there's so little substance to it overall, which just hinders it so much. It's so close, but yet so far at the same time. It's infuriating. Maybe it's just a story that I need to be... No, it can't be a story that I need to be in the mood for, because that's not it, because there clearly is so little substance to it. It's nothing like that. It's not a specific mood story. It's got, as I said, it's just got so little substance to it. I was very surprised to say this, but it's not good. Crusaders not good, guys. It's like turned Lost Like Abominable Snowman to my third favourite story now. Oh. I've honestly appreciated the Hartnell story. No, not a Hartnell story. The Hartnell era, which thing's putting me to sleep, a lot more for its general ideas. I have always loved the Hartnell era for how experimental and daring it can be. I've always liked it for that specific reason. I've liked it for that reason more than the stories, to be honest, because very mixed in terms of stories. I mean, season 1 is great, I would say, actually. Unearthly Child, Daleks. Well, Unearthly Child is good. Daleks, it's okay. Edge of Destruction, great. Marco Polo, great. Keys of Marinus, great. Aztecs, great. Central Rights, pretty good story. Reign of Terror, pretty good story. Good season to start off with. Season 2, again, pretty good. I think here, Planet of Giants. I actually rewatched that recently. That's a good story. Actually, I like that a lot. Like 7 out of 10. Dalek Invasion of Earth, great rescue. That's all right. Romans, please don't speak about the Romans. The Red Planet, good. Crusade, used to be my favourite story, one of them, but really boring now. Trying to think where we go from here. Then we go on to the Space Museum, I think. Yeah, Space Museum. Again, don't talk about that story, just don't. First episode was good, but the rest of it's so boring. Chase is laughably bad. Like, it's so bad, it's fucking hilarious to Chase. Not because of the actual comedy, but because of how poor the chase is. Then we get the Time Melody, which is a pretty good story. And then we get to season 3, which is slightly better than season 2, but still a bit mixed, I think. Galaxy 4, I don't particularly like the original TV story. I think it's a bit average, but this is a good version of it. Missions to the Unknown, amazing. Mythmakers, alright. Dalek's Master Plan, amazing. Massacre, decent story. Arc, average. Trying to think where we go from there next. Celestial Toymaker, again, Target version is great, but pardon me, can't really get into the TV version. Then we go on to the Gunfighters, I think. Again, don't speak about that story. It's utterly despicable, in my opinion. And then we get on to Fuck of the Savages. Again, an okay story, in my opinion. Good concept, but lacked an execution. And same can be said with the War Machines, in my opinion. Then we get the Smugglers in season 4, which is okay. I guess I can listen to it. Then we get the 10th Planet, which I watched recently. Good story to end off on. Not spectacular or anything like that, but 7 out of 10. Good story, good enough to end a Hartnell era on. And yeah, I do much prefer the story, or I much prefer the Troughton era stories over to the Hartnell stories, as apart from season 1, the Hartnell stories, as I just said, were very rocky in terms of quality. With Troughton, it was a bit more level in terms of quality of story, so I prefer it. So I prefer that era over to the Hartnell era in terms of stories. But in terms of general concepts, premises, and actual characters, I still prefer the first Doctor era. So I'm kind of torn between the two eras. I like Troughton era because of the stories, but I prefer the Hartnell era in terms of characters and concepts. Like, because I mean, come on, even if you're the biggest Troughton fan, you've got to admit the format of Troughton got repetitive. I mean, the stories are better than the Hartnell era, but I mean, come on, the freaking format got so repetitive. Base under siege, 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 base under siege. I'll pick that up now. Pop the pre-code in case you're wondering. That's probably the most you get out of me this entire culture until we get to the surviving episodes, because substance, give me fucking substance, Crusade, please. I loved you so much. Give me something to talk about. Come on. Right, the illustrations in the Crusade. Very nice. Very sort of just lovely illustrations. Look at that. Lovely illustration. Looks like nothing like Ian, but oh, how interesting. Something to actually talk about. I thought something like this would happen, my child. No, I didn't, Heart. No, I didn't. Oh, here we go. Here comes China's meltdown. She sounds like such a bitch in this scene. Easily in this one scene, out of everything she's done for Doctor Who, that is Jean Marsh's best performance right there. Better than anything in Master Plan. Such a good scene. So well performed. Something to talk about, guys. Woo! Woo! Troll sneeze. His death. Love that cliffhanger. And death is very far away. Yeah, episode 3 is over, but 4 more episodes of this. Oh, pray for me. Yeah, probably the best episode of the Crusade entire thing for me. Right there, just because of Joanna's scene. 5. Right, and episode 4, the Warlords. Episode 4, the Warlords. Is death. Death is very far away. Hopefully they're warlords of substance. That's all this stream is going to be. It's just me moaning about substance. These coins are going to be the best you have. Feed your joy to misery. Is Alakia going to turn Barbara into a prostitute now? What are warlords going to do on her? Rage war her puss? Never mind then. Heard a very loud noise from downstairs, like plates clattering. Spread eagled on the sand. Sounds kinky. Ooh, somebody's squatting. I'm going to do shit on Ian. Probably make it a lot more interesting. There's something quite interesting about the Crusade. As you may or may not know, a stuntman was required to perform this scene at the end of this episode where Ian had ants crawling over his arms. But what might be a little known fact about the Crusade is that originally Nicholas Courtney was actually considered for the role of King Richard, I think. It was actually according to the complete history issue. I'll just check actually. Always loved that photo in this release. It's got a bird! Aha! Aha! It's in here somewhere. No, it is. Is it not in here? I swear it said it in here somewhere. Oh, well, apparently cast members of Marco Polo returned for the story. At one point, it seemed that Glover might not be available, so Camfield interviewed another actor that he was aware of at school in Egypt, Nicholas Courtney. Ultimately, Glover was unavailable, and Camfield felt that Courtney was not right for the role. Ultimately, Glover was available, and Camfield felt that Courtney was not right for the role. Glover had been sent earlier drafts of the rehearsal scripts with the hinted incestuous relationship intact, and was disappointed to find that this had been removed. Fuck, I didn't know that. So Julian Glover was looking forward to performing on a Doctor Who story with incestuous natures in it, or themes in it. That's fucked up. But yeah, page 21 of the complete history issue, just there, that last little paragraph. Didn't know about that the Crusade had an incestuous, as it put it, sort of nature to the scripts, and that Glover was looking forward to that, which is pretty fucked. So does that mean, well, it's got my brain racing now. Does that mean he was going to fondle Joanna, his daughter? I'm sorry, I'm going to stop because I'm going to get flagged, which I don't want to be. A line of black ants continues its relentless approach. Come on, we're near the end. Give me something to talk about. Still can't believe I've got 4 more episodes to experience for this live stream. Oh, vultures. 4 more episodes of this. 4 more episodes. For new people that are watching now, I was going to do a commentary on soundtrack, which I've done, then commentary on Surviving 2 episodes, then a commentary / reaction on the commentary on episode 3 by Julian Glover on the Lost in Time set that I have not seen yet. At least I don't think I have. No, I haven't. Pigeon trying to save me from this story. Kind of want him to. Make for a much more interesting stream. Let's get a pigeon in. Feed him a Pringle. Well, you don't like it too? What how boring this story is. I'm talking to fucking pigeons now. What has this stream become? Yeah, kill Fam. Not like she's going to run. She's Fam. God, what's YouTuber that I just referenced there? I'm trying to think. I think it was Blasphemous HD. Yeah, it was. Oh, now, nice. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's probably the most interesting thing about episode 4, the fact that there's a fucking owl in it. I think that pigeon heard me. Earl of Leicester. Cheese. That owl sounds like it's pissed off just to even be in this story. Honestly, I don't blame it. If I was an owl and I was in this story, I'd probably try and shit on Douglas Camfield or whoever directed this. It's probably hard out the stream though. If I was an owl in this story, I would shit on Douglas Camfield. Yeah, that's a really stressed sounding owl, to be honest. That's actually kind of concerning. What did they do to that owl before the set? Hopefully it's just sound effects. But you never know, they got an elephant for the arc, so you never know. They might have actually gotten an owl for this story. And they did actually get an eagle or bird of prey for... No, a falcon, that's what it was for episode 1. So, you never know, they might have actually got an owl for this episode. Sounds like an eagle owl or a Great Eurasian eagle owl. Something like that. It's not a barn owl. I know my hoot as well. City of Jaffa. Somebody's got to make a Jaffa Cake parody of this story sometime. That'd be dope. Even though I hate Jaffa Cakes. Kill me. So have I. Let's putting through this, Doctor. Into the Space Museum. Yay! Yay, Space Museum. The TARDIS has realised how boring his story is. It's over. Next episode, the Space Museum, which somehow manages to be even more boring than this, apart from the first episode. Oh god, that was disappointing. I just want to go to sleep. Good grief, got 3 more episodes of this to do. Yeah, Crusade was one of my favourite stories of all time, along with The Abominable Snowmen, Turn Left, and Master Plan. But now it's not. I said earlier in the stream that it's close. It is really, really close to being a good story. The character chemistry is really good. The acting is really good. I would say it had a nice flow to it somewhat, and the music was good, but my goodness, it's just the story line and substance. It just had no substance. Thoroughly disappointed by the Crusade, to be honest. This was my favourite Doctor Who story, along with Master Plan, Snowmen, and Turn Left. Now it's not one of my favourites. I'm about to start watching the Lost in Time box set, so all the bits from the Lost in Time box set now, but God. Episode 1, I would say gets 5 as the. I would say episodes 2 and 4 all get a 4. Both get a 4 out of 10, as they are just. But episodes 1 and 3 get a 5 as good action scene in the beginning of episode 1 and very good scene with Jean Marsh in episode 2, which makes it worth experiencing alone. But overall, not impressed. Seriously, I'm not. Really, really disappointed with the Crusade after returning to it. Good, very close to being a good story. It just lacks substance. Lacks substance. Into the Lost in Time box set, or how you want to say it, if my DVD thing would load. Coffee, not alcohol. Right, resume. Oh, we're partway through Dalek's Master Plan. Good. Episode 5 by the looks of it. Just let this load up. Yeah, Crusade I've been sort of disappointed with. I'm not really even sure if the Frederick Muller original is my most wanted Doctor Who book anymore. Yeah, I'm not really sure if it is, to be honest, because it's not one of my favourite stories anymore. But yeah, I'd still like to try and track it down. I still have respect for the story in a couple of ways. But yeah, it'd be nice to track down any of the Frederick Muller originals or the White Lion books. Glory days of Doctor Who DVD releases. Before that, woman wasn't commenting over everything. The War Games, Disc 1. There are 17 options. The 18th is You Can Have Oral With Me. She didn't say that, but it'd be kind of interesting if she did. Anyways, on to my commentaries of the surviving episodes of The Lion, the Wheel of Fortune, and the commentary on Wheel of Fortune. Let's just see if the commentaries are enabled. Commentary off. Commentary by Julian Glover and Gary Russell. Maybe I might comment on the Day of Armageddon episode as well. That'll be interesting. Nice little bonus. Day of Armageddon commentary, which I have seen before, but nice little bonus for the stream. Might do that as well. Anyways, on to the surviving episode of Lion. I remember this being really good, but from listening to the soundtrack just now, I don't have high hopes. But visually, I know it's going to be good. As I did say, there is quite a few good sort of moments to it, such as that guy being stabbed in the, or shot in the chest by that arrow. Right, no, him up there. Where my thumb is. I agree if that was grainy quality. Well, the print that was recovered wasn't bad quality anyway, so let's see if I can turn it around a bit more. You can vaguely. No, I'm just going to keep on my face. I don't get striked. Yeah, it's a good transition of the TARDIS. I believe the first sort of shot of the TARDIS sort of materializing was in the Keys of Mariners, I want to say. Yeah, Falcon. And he's got a fancy little hat on him. That is one hell of a mustache. I hope that isn't fake. Yeah, it would have been so interesting if the Crusade actually had Nicholas Courtney as King Richard. There's such good costume design in this story. It really is such excellent costume design and production values. So that's why all the budget of the Web Planet went. William the Wary. That's got to be a joke name. Even they're laughing at it. Yeah, it's a really weird quality for this episode. There's like lines over and everything. And the print was bad quality anyway. Good afternoon, tackle! Why would you ask that anyway, Doctor? Who is he? Why did he attack you? Why did he attack you? Who is he? Why did he attack you? Blah, blah, blah. Or whatever he's just said. I don't care. Random pointless bit of dialogue, but good performance from Billy Hartnell, though. And there's Barbara getting kinky. No, come on, you must have seen Ian just then. Come on. He was in the same fucking... He was in frame with you whilst you were looking that way. How did you not see him? And the arrows just appear from nowhere. Yeah, it's really good production values and um, makeup and whatnot for the story. I particularly like the scar on Elakea's eye. Yeah, good wide angle there. Yeah, how on earth did I film that? Was there on a scissor lift or something? Were scissor lifts even invented back in the 60s? Oh, look at that. I'm actually kind of curious about that. That's what I was talking about. Really good effect there. Lovely coffee. I would still like this story to be recovered though, as it might be better than the audio, as it was very visual in the audio. So watching as a whole visually with surviving episodes, with the entire thing being found, I would enjoy a lot more. But on audio I didn't. But I am enjoying this episode a bit more. Oh, good camera angle and shooting there, Douglas Camfield. No sign of Barbara anywhere. Maybe a barbarian got him, got her. I hate myself for saying that. Now, so we must go down to that city, see what we can find. Daleks, anybody? Oh, the Daleks. Duh. Still tired. Coffee, wake me up. Oh, Barbara, you're looking rather seductive there. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I won't be playing any audio from the episodes in this because I don't want to get struck like I was on my Adventure in Space and Time reaction commentary. She was looking for Jaffa cakes. That's why she was outside the walls of Jaffa. That extra in the background holding up that spear is so still. It looks like he looks like a photograph. It's hard to tell, actually. I reckon I could do a much better job of restoring this episode nowadays. The quality here is really weird, to say the least. There's like a massive sort of strip going through it. Let me see if I can show you. It's like that big thing going through and that little swirly thing just there. It looks really, really weird. You ask for the impossible very lightly. Plug me in. Okay. Elakia. Yeah, such good makeup on Elakia. Elakia. No rights, no privileges whilst talking to a woman. Product of its time, everybody. No, I wouldn't be. That'd be wrong in saying product of its time, actually, as women were becoming more equal in the 60s. In fact, pretty much were, as more black people becoming more equal in the 60s, I think. I need to brush up on my history. Love this extra. Such good acting. Silks, satins, finest robes in Jaffa. I think he'll be a really good rapper. Vicky, you look so creepy from back there. Stop looking at the camera like. I'm not sure if that's Vicky, but her in the background, she's just like looking at the camera. That is uncomfortable. Like very sort of Peeping Tom-esque. Crafty. Will be short. My lord, where do you go? I need to sell you my silk satins. We weren't looking, you twat. How can you be sure he didn't leave because you were talking to another person at it? Your beautiful clothes. Dude, a fucking table leg just came out. Stop being such a fucking pussy. The table just collapsed. It's weird, this, because I think it does have more substance in a visual representation. I think something with regards to the audio version having no like visuals, or just something, or just listening to it on audio, sort of, can you give it enough substance for me? I don't know. It's weird. I would fucking love it if they remade this story and had Gordon Ramsay as King Richard. That would be amazing. Joanna, where's the lamb sauce? And one viewer came in the middle of that. You lucky man or girl. Well, that's good camera angles and lighting. Coffee in my nose now. Man, I Greek. The lion is in our cage. Huh? He said it. That was a rubbish Peter Griffin impersonation. He said it. I can't do it. I'm just going to stop. This rowdy jackal that yelps at my feet with tales of fame and fortune and success. That interesting line. That guy looks bored. Didn't pick up his name, but Your Highness character that's sitting in the throne right now. About 19 and a half minutes through for episode 1. Them have all liberties except liberty itself. Paradox. Yeah, I'm still amazed by the production value in this story. It's a real achievement of production values, I would say. So the king just automatically accepts that Barbara is a entertainer and doesn't question why she obviously just bullshitted the hell out of him. That's a fucking great king right there. I'm going to jump. What a good waste of BBC prop wine. There's Vicky with an Illuminati hat. All sort of triangular and pointy. Those look like prop candles. They're not even lit by the looks of it, which is odd, but I guess I'm just analysing this too much. No, they're lit all right. What did he even just throw there? Seriously. No, I'm sorry, but I'm going to go back and have a look and see what he tried to throw. Because it looked like he threw something, but... What did he even throw? He obviously didn't throw anything because there wasn't a sound of it landing. But it did look like he picked up something. I'm confused. I'm just having fun picking this thing apart. He looked like he was nearly going to punch you in there. Oh, such a good performance from Julian Glover. Great makeup. Looks like a real scar. Next episode, A Night of Jaffa Cakes. On to episode 3, The Wheel of Fortune now. So yeah, weirdly enough, I would say that was better than the audio representation. I feel like visuals for this story really give it a bit more substance as just listening onto audio. It's just really talkative and boring and hard to get into, but I feel with visuals that episode was better as it gave it more substance, which is quite interesting. But yeah, I quite enjoyed that episode. Yeah, better than the audio release, I would say. Yeah, on audio, I wouldn't really say this is a good story from judging from that one episode, because it's hard to articulate, but I would say The Crusaders is a bad story on audio because it's so visual that it's such a visual piece of storytelling to the point where it sort of needs visual representation of the story to sort of give it some more substance, because it's almost nothing without its visuals, I would say. As that episode was a hell of a lot better on visuals than audio, to be honest. It had a lot more substance to it and was a lot more engaging. But anyways, on to the third episode and the second surviving episode. Yeah, I enjoyed that episode, actually. The original sort of soundtrack version gets a 5. I think that gets a 7 or an 8. But yeah, onto the Wheel of Fortune now. You're running through the haze and straws and bare feet, Barbara. Good choice. The wheel of fortune. How can you not see? Look. No. I need to go back. I need to show you this. All right, go back. Come on, go back. Go back, you cuck stain. Come on. Oh, come on. And this thing crashed. Fuck's sake. Come on. Yeah, and my fucking DVD thing's not responding. Great. Technical difficulties, guys. Come on. Is this going to load? BBDVD. No, I don't want to resume at Dalek's master plan. Well, I kind of do. Because master plan's awesome, but restart. All right. See, as I was saying, I'm not really sure if this is my most wanted Doctor Who book anymore, the Frederick Muller original of this story, but probably still be one of my most wanted, actually. But as the game with the Frederick Muller originals would be nice. But I'm not really sure what my most wanted Doctor Who book would be anymore. So, come on. Yeah, what I was going to try and point out to you guys was baffling with the episode. I mean, the episode just started and I'm already finding problems. Let me load it up again and see if I can find it. Skip the intro. Here we go. Let me watch it all the way through. This sequence all the way through. Yeah, didn't find them, so let me go through this again. Seriously, look at this. This is just dumb. 1 second, let me get up. Come on. Let's get this up. You can see it. Yeah. Barbara is trying to hide from these two guys which are hunting her down. You can see she's hiding behind this sort of big sort of pillory thing. And as you can see, that guy is sort of looking towards the camera. Imagine that guy sort of looking off to the left. But why I point this out is because you can clearly see Barbara's arm sticking out. And they don't notice that her arm is sticking out for the entirety of the scene. That is just pathetic. Like, all that time, and I didn't notice that Barbara's arm was sticking out. That is just horrible. Not even a minute into this surviving episode, and I'm already finding problems. Are you kidding me? And why is that guy wearing pajamas? All spotty and animation. Yeah, 1 second chokehold makes him instantly fall asleep. Two problems already. I'm only a minute and 15 seconds into this episode. God. To a place of safety, come! The finest settings! It's gonna be a meme now. Make it into a meme. Fine Assassins meme. All the finest settings that I've shat in. Oh my god, I gotta go back and see that again. I'm sorry. I've got to go back and point that out. I'm sorry, but look how uncomfortable Maureen O'Brien looks. Just look at her face at this part. Sorry. Oh, it's fucking hilarious. She looks so uncomfortable, like she's being harassed or something. Oh, that's so funny. She looks like she's about to punch him. Bender here. That has got to be a sexual innuendo. Bender here. Either that was just me being racist. Good old Gene Marsh. Love that quote so much. There's something new in you, but something old in the sky itself. Oh, such a good quote. I reckon transvestites will get offended at that bit. The guy laughing at the girl dressed as a boy stuff part way through this episode. Like 5 minutes in, or 4:50 in. Veritable strutting peacock. Could be of characterization between Vicky and Doctor, I'd say. Such good characterization between those two, the Doctor and the whatchamacallit, Vicky. I really do think the visuals of this give it more substance, I would say. Really sort of adds to the story because it more substance. As I said, the audio just does not work really. Is he saying all of that with his eyes closed? I think he just did. That is weird. I think I just saw a camera shadow on Barbara's head, forehead. One second. And continue. Such a powerful sort of scene. Wait a minute, did the knife just change between shots? Kind of. I don't think so. No, I think so, no. This must have been me. Again, amazing makeup on Alakia. Again, amazing sort of production values in the story. I mean, that looks like a real crown. And I was about to say Julian Caesar. No, Julian Glover's head. With honeyed words, that's an interesting metaphor. Sweeter. You stupid butcher, can you think of nothing else but killing? Love that. Just the way Holland delivered it. You stupid butcher, can you think of nothing but killing? The sort of way it's sort of built. Like a progressive rock guitar solo. Shots fired. It was so casual, just putting his sword back. He was like, put my sword back in its holster. Or sheathed. For the rest of that shot, that guy just stared at Hart now. Like, without even blinking. Again, amazing camera work. I mean, just have his face in focus and all the candles in the background. I mean, excellent bit of camera work from Dougie Camfield. Where did your hat go, like here? I liked it. That's not Alaki, that's somebody else. Looks like the same person, though, or actor, rather. Amazing chaotic sound effects in the background, child screaming, woman screaming. Let me go, don't shoot me. Bows and arrows? Oh, naan bread. Oh, stuff your face, you greedy pig. You greedy pig. You greedy pig. Still noshing away the naan. That's starting to sound like a metal bowl. Big thump of wood. Maybe it was a wooden bowl. And I will be right back. 1 second, guys. And I am back, continuing with episode 3 of the Crusade, or the surviving bit of it, before we move on to the commentation of it. Or the commentation of my reaction of the commentary that's on this by Julian Glover, which I've not seen yet. It's a great hidden door, it just all blends into the wall. Again, great camera work. I like the focus on Bart rather than the focusing onto the guy. I remember this being a good scene. Just of the ants calling over Ian in the final bit of this episode. Oh look, there's the back of the studio. Yeah, again the quality's going a bit pixely, but yeah, I'd still really like to see the Crusade found as I said, the visuals add much more substance to what is a fairly talkative story. As I really feel it sort of creates a nice equilibrium of enjoyments. I guess you would say. It's a very plastic-looking costume, Joanna. I was a bit confused, Eugene Marsh. The king spoke in competence and must not steal his thunder. That is an interesting line. Not quite sure what to make of it, but gosh, the performance from Marsh. Such a good performance from Gene Marsh. As I said, best performance of Gene Marsh in an entire Doctor Who career, I would say. So glad that this episode exists. Just to get this scene alone is worth watching it. Just for this, it's worth watching this surviving episode just for this scene alone, I would say. What are you doing with that brush, Alakia? Barbara on her knees and you've got a big brush in your hand. I'm scared. You're in such good makeup and a quote. The only pleasure left for you is death. And death is a long, far away. So yeah, another good episode, I would say. As I said, it adds substance to the story having it on visuals, and yeah, I'll still stand by my thing saying it's the best it's sort of best experience visually. I would say this story as it sort of adds to the sort of substance to the story, I would say. Anyways, on to the sort of final hurdle of this live stream now. Commentary, my reaction to the episode 3 commentary featuring Julian Glover and Gary Russell, which I've not experienced yet. Hopefully I've enabled it right. Yep. Haven't seen in years now, so that must mean that Julian Glover saw the story in the original transmission then, maybe. It's interesting. Mm. I think it's always interesting to watch Doctor Who commentaries as you always get like a good insight, or commentaries by the people that work something like this one with Julian Glover. I always think it's fascinating to watch Doctor Who commentaries, as it gives you good insight as how it was made. So, from like point of view of the actors, as it's sort of with books and stuff, like actually no, never mind. Just sort of with actors is such a good sort of insight as to how the episodes were made. Just watching commentaries on episodes with the original actors like this is really nice to watch, in my opinion. So it probably said on your CV, Julian Glover, King of Villains. Wait, Julian Glover appeared in Doctor Who again? I didn't know that. I gotta look that up. I honestly didn't know that Julian Glover was in another Doctor Who after this. I gotta look that up. No, of course he was. He was in City of Death, wasn't he? See me. Bill Pertwee. It's interesting how Julian Glover's just saying here how he got the impression that Hartnell didn't like him, which is interesting. It's interesting. Julian Glover didn't like the crown that he got in the story. Complaining it was far too far back. That makes sense. Yeah, I agree with that. Gary Russell. He said his dog was beautifully made in this era of Doctor Who. And called Queen and called shirt. He's got a fake beard. It's interesting. It's quite an entertaining commentary so far. Julian Glover's got a lot of character to him outside of Doctor Who, I would say, just as a person, just looking through this commentary and watching it, he just seems to have a lot of character. Seems like a fun guy to be around. I just realised something. Why doesn't Julian Glover have a scar on his forehead that he does throughout most of the story on the cover of this box set? I just realised that. Set that beauty back there. Saffordin. I think you can almost see the fake glue in the beard of Saffordin. Looks like it. Mm. The stuff BBC destroyed. Master plan! Marco Polo. The Space Pirates. thought I should get this box set signed by Gary Russell because, I mean, he did do all the commentaries on this, I think. Or hosted them at least. Walter Randall, that's an interesting actor's name. Person that played Alakia. I said the name of a car brand for a second there. Mm-hmm. Such good chemistry between Julian Glover and Gary Russell here. Great combination, I would say, of commentators. Well, Julian Glover is I was about to say Julian Russell there. I was thinking of how good it would be to have William Russell in this commentary, but Julian Glover there was opening up about how he did a lot of radio with Maureen O'Brien, and how Maureen O'Brien did a lot of radio. That's interesting. He wore a wig for the story, Julian Glover. So they cut between going from rooms to rooms in this scene, Julian Glover just said. So that was a really good bit of transitioning right there, I would say. So Julian Glover was going to John Pertwee story? I need to look that up. Reaching the end here. And that was that commentary in this live stream over and done with, I would say. Interesting sort of commentary. Wasn't really talking a lot through it. I was just sort of absorbing all of the information for the first time in that commentary that Julian Glover was talking about. And yeah, I would say that was a good commentary, and I like how sort of Julian Glover opened up about things and stuff, how he didn't like his costume, how he didn't like his crown, just sort of different things opening up about his time on the Crusade. And that's why I like commentaries so much. It's just that you really get to see how, just to get an insight. That's why I like commentary so much, just to get an insight of one of the actors and how they sort of appreciated the story, how they sort of, what their sort of perspective was on making the story, their sort of participation in the making of it. That's what is so interesting about commentaries for it to me. And one of my favorite commentaries of all time is on this DVD commentary for the Darkness Master Plan episode 2, Day of Armageddon, featuring Peter Purvis, Kevin Stoney, and Raymond P. Cusick, and Gary Russell hosting it once again. That was my favorite commentaries of all time, because it's just quite a few people sort of opening up about the making of the Daleks Master Plan, what they felt like making the Daleks Master Plan throughout how it was made and stuff, and just them sort of opening up about how it was sort of made for them and how they enjoyed, or how they sort of experienced the making of the Daleks Master Plan. That sort of applies to other stories as well, I would say. I like just how commentaries sort of give you specific insights onto the perspectives of how one couple actors can actually, or the source. What I'm trying to say is, I like how commentaries sort of deliver on the sort of perspective of have sort of live on the perspective of or sort of of how I like commentaries because of how they sort of give you an insight onto the perspective of one or a few actors, the making of their television program. I like commentaries. I like commentaries because of that reason, as it gives you a really good sort of first-hand insight about looking into the making of their TV stories and TV series, and that's why I'm looking forward so much to reading this, as it gives you sort of a nice sort of insight onto sort of how and sort of how Doctor Who was for the makers of Doctor Who, essentially. And that's why I like commentary so much, just to see how it was making Doctor Who for the makers of Doctor Who, if that makes sense. And that's why I love my commentary so much. So yeah, really good commentary by Julian Glover there. First time I'd watched it. No idea why I hadn't watched it before, but yeah, really good commentary by Julian Glover. And I really like the sort of chemistry he had between himself and Gary Russell. I felt like they were a great combination. Sort of really, they just sort of acted like they were best friends in the commentary. It really felt like two good old mates just having a chinwag with each other about Doctor Who. It was just fantastic to sort of experience and unravel. And as for the Crusade itself, as I said, it does sort of lack substance on audio, but I do feel the visuals sort of give it more sort of substance, I would say personally. And it's not one of my favourite stories of all time anymore, The Crusade. It just sort of lacks substance on audio, and I feel that the visual representations that I got from, or the sort of, I got the sort of vibes from the Surviving Episode 1 and Surviving Episode 3, The Line of the Wheel of Fortune, was that it gained a lot more substance from being visually represented, because on audio a really talkative story doesn't really get much substance per se. It's just characters talking. There's no sort of visual feaster, so to speak, for a listener to an audio track to sort of to an audio soundtrack to sort of engage with the story properly. If it's like really talkative, if it's something like the Daleks Master Plan that has like sort of action in it and sort of commentaries and stuff, and sort of that story that could essentially work as an audio drama, are sort of do have a lot of substance already, and sort of benefit from being on audio in a way, as a really good way of re-experiencing a lost story, as some stories like Daleks Master Plan and especially Power, I would say, sort of are nice to experience in audio. I mean, it's like, it'd be nice to have them recovered, but what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the story, some stories sort of work better on audio than others, like Daleks Master Plan and Power of the Daleks. But stories like Snowmen and Crusade sort of don't really work on audio that well, in my opinion. So yeah, not one of my favourite stories anymore, The Crusade. I do still like it, but for me on audio it just lacks somewhat, and I feel that it would be much better recovered and much better recovered and being able to watch visually. Maybe I just need to watch reconstruction of this story along with the surviving episodes, and that will help me appreciate the story a lot more. But yeah, that pretty much concludes this sort of live stream. I hope The Crusade gets found one day. And yeah, quite an interesting sort of turnout of events. Not one of my favourite stories anymore, but it was good to re-experience it once again, and I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. But yeah, so like, fair, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. Pitchskullblack, dematerializing.